Hey, what's up everyone? It's Duskmos, and today we're taking a look at the GFI System Synesthesia. The Synesthesia is a very cool multi-effect that focuses mainly on modulation. So as it says right here, dual channel modulation. It is a really deep, really intense modulation pedal. Lots of control, lots of modulation. As you can tell from the knobs on top, there are a lot of features, and the little screen lets you navigate these features. And it's not as intimidating as maybe it looks on paper or in photo. Definitely a little bit easier in practice. This thing's got a ton of hands-on control, really nice knobs, and it's built like a tank, so it's ready for whatever you want to throw at it. But it's not recommended that you throw stuff at your pedals, I'm just saying. But this is Signal Colors. So on the Synesthesia up front, we've got 8 knobs, 2 soft latching foot switches, and we've got a number of LEDs. So there's one here, there's 4 across here, and 2 here. Obviously, we've also got this nice LCD display. On the front, we've got a MIDI in and a MIDI through. On the back, there is an input, an auxiliary switch, expression input, or CV control input jack, a USB port, a selector switch for pre and post or stereo out, and then you've got the output and a send and return if you use it in mono mode, because the send uses the right jack, so right output jack. So if you want it in stereo, then you've got stereo out left and right. The best way to look at the controls on the Synesthesia are 2 groups of 4. So on the left side, you've got a speed depth tweak and a Y multi-function mode button, that knob. Well, it's a knob and a button. It clicks and it twists, and it feels really good to use. And also you've got the foot switch. Speed controls the rate or speed of the effect loaded to this half of the pedal. Depth is also the depth of that effect. Tweak is sort of like a catch-all, so really depending on what function or effect you have loaded on this side of the pedal, the tweak knob will vary. And then Y will let you switch effects and make sort of like your selections and do all that kind of stuff. As well as the foot switches, they actually will either, if it's in stomp box mode, which basically what that does is it turns on each of these to activate and deactivate the left and right effects that are loaded on this half or this half. If it's in presets mode, it will shift between the 2 presets that are loaded in that specific bank. You'll see a little bit more of that as I go through and demo, and I also cover some of that in my first look hands-on as well for the Synesthesia. A lot of these knobs and buttons have multiple functions, and so as you can see, you can do like a click, you can do a twist, you can do a press and twist. They kind of cover a lot of ground, and it sounds a little bit more intimidating than it really is. Also, same goes with the foot switches. So like I said, in the different modes, they kind of change function, but you can also press and hold to do like a ramp kind of effect. A lot going on, but I will load manual or a link to the manual in the description below. So if you want to follow along, feel free. Another thing to note, on the back there is a USB jack, and that allows you to hook the Synesthesia up to a computer, and you can download the free software called SimLab, and it allows you to work through your presets. You can back things up, and yeah, it looks a little outdated, but it's something that is a cool feature and nice to have that capability. All right, let's get this hooked up and hear how it sounds. Okay, so I've got the Synesthesia paired up with the Elektron Digitone, the FM Groovebox, really fun synth, and the MFB drum computer, the MFB 522. The 522 is an 808 style analog drum machine, and I have a pattern programmed into that I have tempo synced with the Digitone over MIDI. That is going into the inputs on the Digitone, so then the whole audio path will be going into the synesthesia. So you'll hear the effect on the drums as well as the synth sounds. One thing to note that the whole mix is coming out of one channel, the left channel in the Digitone, and going into the synesthesia. It's a mono in, but stereo out. So to kick things off per usual, this is what my clean pattern sounds like. You get the idea. So before we get started, I'm going to go over a little bit of the information about the operational side of things with the synesthesia. You can see on the screen, the first line tells you the name of the preset and the page that you're in this, in this bank of presets. So in each one of these four, you've got two. So right now I can switch between Far Horizons, and that's active, or switch over to Octolean, and that's active or bypassed. So back over to Far Horizons. In Far Horizons, you can see on the second line, it's a phaser going into a tremolo. And then we switch over to Octolean, and it's an octave into a Dimension C chorus type effect. And again, bypassed, active, active, bypassed. So you can see each one of these four LEDs here are lights that indicate which one you're in. There's two per. So if you want to switch to the next one, you tap. And now this tells you on first look that you're either choosing the funk or perfect peak. The funk is going to be over here, perfect peak over here. And again, now you switch between these two modes. Now the funk is an envelope filter into an octave, and perfect peak is an envelope filter. What you can do is if you want to switch it into the Stompbox mode, you press and hold, and then it indicates that. And now it tells you that you are in that mode. And you can turn on and off either the octave or the envelope filter of this one preset. And to switch back, go back into presets, and now you're going from the funk into perfect peak. So right out of the gate, this is filled with presets. This tells you that we're on page 1. You can cycle through. There are 4 per. And when I did my first look at this, I actually went through the first 3 banks of presets. So I'll make sure and focus on the 4th bank this time around. But I'll still cycle through. I'm gonna start at the first one anyway. Okay, so now, just a quick reminder. Again, that's the clean pattern with everything on. And I'll activate synesthesia. So you hear the phasing going with the trem, and it's panning pretty hard left and right. So we'll slow the speed down. Depth as well. And so remember, it's sort of like 2 halves. So this is all going to be the trem side, this is all going to be the phaser side. It tells you the previous value, so I just changed the speed to 56. Well, it was at 30 something. Going up to 99. Back the depth off. So it's kind of cool. If you want to do a live tweak, you can remember that you're at 92, so you can kind of bend away from something and then bring it back. So, as mentioned, the tweak knobs do different things. So this one is mix. Clean reminder. Alright, we'll switch to the next preset here. So you can tell this one, now the tweak, it becomes a dry level. Depth is an octave control. The mix. And back it down. Press and hold to do the ramp. Kind of cool just to see what those do on the different presets. We're going to switch to the next. Oops. Accidentally switched the effect type here. So let me go back. Let's back to over here. Keep doing that. Do a clean reminder. Switch to the next. You can really hear it's a peaky filter. Next page. Quite a volume boost on this one. You can save volume per preset as well, so if you have a specific volume that, you know, like a setting that's pretty loud and aggressive, you can make sure you save that in so you don't cue it up and blow your speakers. Here's a bypass. Switch to the next one. Next page. Unisonic. It's a detune. All right, and this crazy glitch thing. So you can hear the swell really kind of making this duck. You speed it up. It's a little less crazy. Still pretty crazy though. And bypass. Alright, so we hold both of these to go to the next page. Oops. So I switch it to Stompbox, I need it in presets mode, and then I need to just do a quick press of both, and now we're in 2. So now I have Revolver. And we'll switch to the next one, Stutterfly. So what's cool about this is, well, as mentioned, you can turn on and off the 2 sides. So you have to be in Stompbox mode for that. So now if I want to just cut the flange out, and so the trem is going. Bring back in the flange. Maybe cut the trem. So it kind of gives you options, so you can sort of build almost like 2 different pedals in one preset for maybe different parts of a song or whatever. It's cool. It's bypassed. Switch back into presets mode. We'll go to the next one. Pretty wild one. So I think it's a sample and hold flange. So if we're in some ramping. Oh, I switched pages. That's okay. We'll just go with it. And on to the next one. It's pretty crazy. So again, if we want to do Stompbox mode, you can turn off the vibrato. And it's just the envelope filter. Clean. And then both. Back into presets mode. And we'll stop that pattern. I'll go ahead and switch to the next pattern I've got here before I move into this 3rd page of presets. So clean sounds like this. You get the picture. We'll go ahead and activate the synesthesia on Got Reverb. We're in page 3, and let's hear how it sounds. If you move a knob, it does jump to the value. But it sometimes takes you to interesting places. It's like a live remix. Let me switch over to God Echoes. Take the kick drum out. It's a little less sloppy that way. Alright, we'll bypass. And we'll go to the next page. Or I guess next preset. It's Leslie, so we've got drum and horn. It's moving kind of slow, back and forth. Okay, let's kind of ramp up a little bit. Gramophone. Pretty cool lo-fi action. Go to the next one, True Zero. It's a tape flange. It's called Oceana. Tape flange plus a phaser. Go to stomp box mode. We can turn on and off the phasing. Or the flanging. We'll go back to presets mode. And we'll go to the next page. Jump to Arctic Dance. Over to Rubber Band. Swim further underwater. It's cool. And bypassed. Okay, we'll go to Ghetto Cry. So, formant filter into an octave. Formant was kind of aggressive, so I jumped in and took it down a notch. Bypass. I'm gonna bring in the kick drum again. And we'll jump to the next one. Bali zone. Pretty wild one. Bypassed. Alright, we'll go to the next ones. Octa Funky. And we'll jump over to the next. That's pretty cool. I think I adjust the tempo. It's cool. It almost gives the impression of like a reverse kind of thing. Bypassed. Alright, next we've got Wild Gypsy. Well, that one's crazy. Yeah, this is insane, but pretty creative. It's kind of cool. Just to find something musically pleasant. All right, got Hallucinate. Bypass. And we'll go over to the next bank, Dyno Width. Bypass. And over to Sundown, the last preset. Bypassed. And back. And there we go. That is the GFI System Synesthesia with the Elektron Digitone FM synthesizer and the MFB 522 analog drum machine. So what do I think of this synesthesia? Well, I think it's a cool pedal. I think if you're really into getting hands-on with the details and sound design and I guess effects design in this case, then there's plenty for you here. All the different options and knobs and hands-on control really makes this sort of like a tweaker's dream. And I mean an effect tweaker, not like, like a drugged out, whatever. But anyway, moving on. There's lots of I/O and MIDI on the front, which is an interesting choice, but I think it could make for some, some good cable management type solutions. That's kind of different. Yeah, it's a cool box. Just really good all metal construction, feels really sturdy and durable, and like this thing will last a really long time. I think while it's very tweakable, if that is not your thing, then this might be a little much for you. If you don't want to dive in and get really granular with the details of your effects, then this might not be for you. Another thing that isn't really that big of a gripe, because most pedals aren't, but it's mono in and then stereo out. It would be cool if it was true stereo all the way through, but being stereo out, you can kind of fake it, and it makes up for it in lots of ways with lots of really cool stereo panning and stuff going on the output, as well as like super wide choruses and all that kind of good stuff. So you don't really miss it so much. It's just one of those things. The knobs, although kind of close, they have different types of resistances on them. So like this one, for example, like these two, they click a little bit. So if you accidentally hit them, they might not change on you, which is good, because these do change the effect that's assigned, there are lots of options, which is really cool. So if you really want kind of just one box to do a lot of modulation, I don't know, this is a really good bet, I think, and probably a pretty easy pickup, I'd say. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.